If there's something that you've been wanting to do in your life, but you feel stuck and you've been going through these mental gymnastics of wanting to do the thing, but not actually doing the thing, and then berating yourself for not doing the thing, then that's going to stop today. Because in today's video, I'm going to explore what's behind the feeling of stuckness. And you might actually be surprised to find out that it's really actually just a coping mechanism and not really a feeling of being stuck at all. So stick around because we're going to get into that right now. But before we do, welcome if you're new. My name is Kara McGill. I'm an ADHD coach and creator, and I'm here for the busy, ambitious brains who want to do all the things, but they feel stuck and don't actually get started on it until today. So let's get into it right now. I'm going to frame today's discussion around stuckness based on a question I just got from a new email subscriber. So in case you don't know, when you sign up for the Sunday setup email that I send out every Sunday, you'll immediately get a response from me just introducing myself, and I'll ask you, what recent challenges are you dealing with that I could make a future episode around? And this idea of feeling stuck is something that comes up a lot. So I figured it was high time to address it. And if you want to get on my Sunday setup email, I will leave a link to that below in the description. So let's get on to what this new subscriber wrote. My most recent challenge is feeling stuck. I know what things in my life need to change, but despite requiring only minor tweaks, it all feels literally impossible. I spend more time thinking about the necessary changes than actually implementing them. And while I'm half decent at being self-aware and recognizing where these self-imposed obstacles are coming from, I just can't seem to move the needle on anything right now. Okay, I feel like I have a PhD in feeling stuck and not being able to get out of it. So there's a lot I can say about what this person is going through. But where I want to start is with identification of feelings. So she says that she knows there's only small, minor things that need to be tweaked in order to make the change she knows she needs to make, but it feels impossible. And that's why she feels stuck. And I get that. And I've definitely been there. What I'll start by saying, just because you feel something doesn't mean that it has to dictate your behavior. Over identifying with feelings can be unhelpful sometimes, or to the point of being self-destructive, especially if you're someone who struggles with emotional regulation. So I don't know if this person has ADHD or not, but if they're somebody who has very big emotions and they feel big things, if they were to act on every feeling they had in the moment, they would have a really hard time getting through life on a number of levels. So we all know that we need to feel our feelings and acknowledge them, but that doesn't mean that there has to be a behavior attached to it. And that goes for every feeling across the board, including feeling stuck. It is actually possible to feel stuck and do things anyways. It's possible to feel like things are pointless or hopeless, but do things anyways. You can quite literally wake up in the morning and think, my whole life is hopeless. I'm stuck. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. But there are these three things that was on my to-do list today. So even though I know it's hopeless, I'm going to do them anyway, because I have nothing else that I can do other than wallow in this feeling of stuckness. So I might as well keep myself busy as I embrace this feeling. Because what you don't want to do is push the feeling down or ignore it. You want to let it be there so you can process it. And I'll get into that in a second. But it doesn't mean that if you have that feeling, you literally can't do anything in spite of it. You can still go through the motions of life. It may not feel good, but I can tell you this, if you feel stuck and do nothing, you're probably going to feel a lot worse than if you feel stuck, but go through the motions and do things anyway. And so I invite you to try an experiment around this. You say that there's only small tweaks that you need to make. So write down what those are and try to do that regardless of how you're feeling. Think to yourself, I feel like this is hopeless. I feel very stuck, but I'm going to do this thing that I wrote down anyways because I might as well do it. You might be pleasantly surprised to find out that you can do the thing despite how you feel. And at the end of the day, it's probably going to make you feel a little bit better about your situation and a little less hopeless. And on that note, one other thing you mentioned here is that you only need to make small tweaks, but it feels impossible. My thought is if it feels impossible, then the tweaks you need to make are probably not minor. They're probably quite major, and you need to break them down because it could be a feeling of overwhelm that's getting in the way of you thinking anything other than stuck. And that brings me to my next question. question, which is, what is this feeling of stuckness doing to protect you? If there's something that you want to do, but you feel stuck and you're honoring that feeling by not doing anything, then that is an amygdala slash nervous system response to a fear of, if you actually do the thing, something might happen. You might fail, you might look silly, you might get rejected. So be very aware that this choice you're making to feel stuck is solving for something. And you want to be aware of what that is. And that brings me to my next question, which is also a bit of a mind bender. So stick with me here because it's nuanced, but very important. Whatever it is that you feel stuck about, let's say there's a result or a goal that you want to have, but you can't seem to motivate yourself to move forward with it. When you think about that outcome that you would like to have, do you want to have had the outcome, or do you want to actually do the things it takes to get that outcome? Let me give you an example. For many years, I wanted to be a marathon runner, and I just would think of myself going to cocktail parties talking about how I ran Boston in under 3 hours. And I just thought, how cool would that be to self-identify as a marathon runner? But you want to know the truth? I have never run a marathon, and I can assure you I never will, because I hate long distance running. So I never actually want to do this thing. It's the same as wanting to be a published author versus being someone who wants to wake up every day and write 500 words before they start their day job. There's doing the thing, and then there's having done the thing. And very often our mind is over-indexed on the result, but it's either not thinking about the path to get there, or it knows how hard it's going to be. And that's the reason why it's keeping you feeling stuck, because you don't actually want to go through the process of achieving whatever it is you want to do. So this is actually a question I think anyone who feels stuck should spend a lot of time thinking about, because if you don't actually want to do the things it takes in order to achieve the goal, then you will continue to spend an inordinate amount of time doing mental gymnastics around feeling stuck, when really what you might just need to do is have a come to Jesus moment where you say, you know, I actually don't want to take the steps. And at the end of the day, the juice really isn't worth the squeeze in terms of getting to the result. Then you can let go of all of that mental gymnastics about feeling stuck and what that means about you, that you can't actually move forward on something you think you want. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen that light bulb moment in my clients when they suddenly realize that, yeah, it'd be nice to have this thing, but no, I don't actually want to do what it takes to get there. So I'm willing to let that go. And it just opens all of this lightness and peace, because there's no longer this idea that you've been dragging around like a bag of 50-pound potatoes that you don't actually want to do anything with. It's so important to realize that as human beings, we do not live in our results. We live for the next best thing that we want to achieve. Think about all of the things that you have already achieved in your life. There's so many results in that you never pay attention to. So think about it this way. You're investing so much cognitive energy in this thing that you think you want, but you're feeling stuck around. And you're probably thinking about it a lot, and you're probably shaming yourself for not moving forward with it. But if you actually gain that result, just like you gained every other result in your life, you would probably not spend more than a moment of thought on gaining that result. And then you would want something else, something bigger, better down the road. That's just how we are programmed as human beings. So I think it's really a good practice for anyone who is in that energy of feeling stuck to take a moment to appreciate how many things you have actually moved the dial on in life. All of those things to date indicate that you are someone who can move forward on something when you either really want to, or when the pain is great enough that it's time to make a change. So maybe if you go through the process of evaluating all those questions I just gave you, and you realize that the result is something you still want, you're willing to go through the motions, it could just be that wherever you are right now is still comfortable enough that the pain or discomfort of changing isn't worth it yet. So you might need to stay where you are a little bit longer in order for the fire under your butt to get hot enough that you're ready to move. But there is some biological or psychological reason why your body and nervous system does not want to move forward. And it's probably going to be a lot more worth your time to explore what's holding you back, rather than just ruminating on the fact that you're stuck and not moving forward. And the last thing I would encourage you to explore as it relates to this feeling of stuckness is, what would happen if you just let this thing go? Whatever the result is that you want to get, whatever the changes are, what if you just said, I'm not ready to do it right now. I may not ever be ready. I'm just going to let this go. Would letting this go give you in any way a sense of peace? Like you just don't need to worry about it anymore. For example, let's say you were 40 pounds overweight and you wanted to lose those 40 pounds and you've wanted to lose them for 10 years, but you've never done anything about it. What would happen if you just let go of that desire to lose 40 pounds and instead just accepted yourself as you are? This is my pant size. If something changes because it changes, great. But otherwise, I am letting go of this desire to lose weight. That might give some people a lot of peace and relief. And it might give other people a sense of heck no, because if I don't lose this weight, then X, Y, or Z is going to happen. Looking at the situation through that lens will give you the opportunity to just imagine what it'd be like if that wasn't an option in your life. So those are the things that I have done and would do again if I were feeling stuck about something in my life. I would experiment with detaching my behavior from my feelings and just try to do it anyways and see what happens. I would explore what benefits I'm getting from staying in a state of stuckness. Like, what am I afraid to actually move forward with? And I would also have an honest conversation with myself about whether I want to have done the thing or I actually want to go through the steps of getting to the thing. And then, of course, thinking about if I just let this thing go and not even let it be an idea in my mind anymore, would I feel at peace or would I feel like I would be missing out on something really important? So I hope those ideas were helpful and they move you from a sense of feeling stuck into a decision, whether it's going after the thing or letting it go. And on that note, I want to thank you again for watching to the end. I really appreciate you guys being here, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.